head to fightbananas.com.
Hello, world. Man, that intro gets me a little hype. Guys, what's up, everyone? This is Dave from Fight Bananas, fightbananas.com. What's going on, everyone? All right, big episode once again. We're doing it. Mitchell Chamale, the promoter from Combat Night, is calling in. He's going to call in any minute now. So much to talk about because it is officially Fight Week. Fight Week for Combat Night Duval. Biggest amateur female main event for the organization, probably the biggest amateur female fight in the state of Florida, 2019 and beyond. Insane. Taylor White versus Shelby Corin. Also, what happened on UFC 238? We got UFC Contender Series news. We got Troy Worth, and there's so much to talk about with Mitchell Chamale. We might even sneak in a little Dean Tool Promotions this Saturday, Masvidal versus Pettis. But here we go, guys. Mitchell's about to call in. Mitchell Chamale, Combat Night. All right, guys, I told you, calling in right now. Mitchell Chamale, Combat Night promoter. Mitchell, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing all right, man. How's everything your way?
Oh, man, we're great. We're great. Life is good, grinding. Fight Bananas is on fire. The family's good. Everything's awesome.
Good to hear, man. Same here. Everything's looking really good. Family, all of that good stuff. No complaints.
Very cool, very cool. Well, we'll definitely, there's so much. Gosh, there's so much I want to talk to you about. But first of all, my favorite one-letter word in mixed martial arts is trilogy. My favorite two-word phrase in combat sports is Fight Week. And it is officially Fight Week for you, Combat Night Duval. Mitchell, this main event is historic.
Yeah, I believe, I agree with you on that one.
Like, one of your Instagram live shows, you just talked about it. This fight will be on the UFC Fight Pass. This fight will be on, Bellator MMA a year and a half from now. And for anyone can get it inside the state of Florida for $35. If you're not going there live, you're just crazy. And then, of course, you can always order the pay-per-view. They can watch you guys, right?
Yeah, man, we have a pay-per-view link. But, it's $20. It's not bad, but when you just look at the people that are on this card, it's more than Shelby Corin and Taylor White. We got Tristan McGraw and Ramon Tavares.
Oh, wow.
We got people that are. There's probably 2 or 3 people that'll get picked out of here that'll end up being in a big show one day, and it's always crazy to me that a lot of these people. Look at a guy like Mike Perry, who's super popular now in the UFC, and on his come up, I went to those shows. I was there live to watch him. I could be 10 feet from the cage whenever he fought here in Kissimmee and Orlando and local, and there was less than 1,000 people in the building. And now people are paying $2,000, $2,500 to be as close as I was for $50, actually for free. But the tickets where I was sitting were like $50, $60 tickets.
Oh, absolutely. You mentioned Alton Meeks. We'll get into that too. We got the Contender Series. Like I said, there's so much I want to talk to you about, but let's just really stick on with Combat Night. There's so many. I saw Mike Beast Boy Davis 4 times, in 2018, Pensacola Beach, Florida, for island fights, $30, $35, same thing. We got it, but there's so much pure talent. You're talking about the last Duval show. You had Austin Lane. The show was packed. You just had main eventers everywhere. Reggie Mack was on the card, soon to be. It's just. You guys are putting up next-level fighters. You guys are putting up the future of MMA, the future of the UFC, and it's the best price in town.
Yeah, you can't beat it, man. You can't even get you can't even order the pay-per-view for the cost of a ticket to watch them fight live once they make it to the UFC. So it's always very interesting to me to always look back. We had Jillian Robertson fight for us multiple times.
Yeah,
she held a belt for us. She fought another girl named Lindsey Van Zant, who's in Bellator. Lindsey Van Zant fights this Friday for Bellator, and her and Jillian, Jillian fought in the UFC. They fought each other in Jacksonville, Florida, in front of a crowd of less than 1,000. You could have watched both of those two females who are crushing it right now for $30.
Wow. So Combat Night Duval main event is Taylor White versus Shelby Corrin. I do want to get into that, but I'm with you. If you could break out, you're the promoter. Name me 2 fighters or even a fight on the card. Doesn't matter. No headliner of any means. Just like, guys, I want to put some spotlight on these fighters or fight and make sure more people know about it before, June 15th.
Man, if I had to pick 2 fights aside from Shelby Corrin and Taylor White,
mm-hmm.
I think that Tristan McGraw versus Ramon Tavares. He corrected me the other day after like 3 years of saying his name. I'm like, bro, you couldn't have corrected me 3 years ago?
Catch these hands. That's what I call them by.
Right, yeah, catch these hands. And Tristan's nickname is Quick Draw McGraw.
Jeez, that's
both
awesome.
of these guys are stand-up fighters, but, neither one of them are slouches on the ground. Tristan is undefeated. Ramon's only loss is to Stephen Koslow, and it was a 3-round war. I mean, you know who Stephen Koslow is, I'm sure.
We do.
He's a stud. So, like, these guys, I'm ready. I'm excited to see these guys throw down. Tristan is 3-0-1, and his one draw was against a kid named Sophia, and that was a war. I mean, it went to a draw, and it was fight of the night. It went to a draw, and the fans didn't boo. It was that good of a fight. It was an amazing fight. So I think that's one of those fights that's kind of went under the radar just because the hype's been so much behind Shelby and Taylor's fight. I think that fight is going to be a really big fight. Another one for me, man, there's so many on this card. This card's really stacked, but Brennan Perveau, I'm probably going to mess up that name, and Sam Barbosa. They're fighting at 185 pounds. It's kind of a clash of 2 styles. Sam is the only guy so people were clowning because you look at Brennan and looks like a Greek god. He's shredded. He's,
Ultimate warrior in his prime.
Yeah. You look at Sam and people were like, are you fighting Peter Parker? And that's a good, I know they were trying to clown on Sam by saying he looked like Peter Parker, but that's a really good analogy because he looks like a guy that you wouldn't be scared of or a guy that's not that great. But he's the only person out of 8 fights that went the distance with Alton Meeks.
Ooh.
So that says a lot about him, his toughness, his grit. He put Alton in some tricky situations. It's a grappler versus striker. It's a classic matchup, but Brennan's got wrestling and Sam's not afraid to stand. So even though they both have their skill sets that they like to be focused on, they both can go into the other's skill set and survive and do well and thrive even. So it's a really interesting fight to me. I can't wait to watch it. And like I said, man, the Orlando crowd is kind of counting out Sam based off of looks. But if there's one thing that MMA has taught me and should have really taught any fan in the sport is that you can't go off of looks.
Oh, that's for damn sure. Wow. So you hit on like 3 things I want to go with on that. For one, the nickname. God, Quick Draw McGraw. You got Catch These Hands. I just talked to Jessica Borga like last week, the Black Widow. Like, how amazing nickname is it? These nicknames are incredible. I need one, Mitchell. Like, you can never give your own self a nickname. So sooner or later, I need help on it. The family there. We got to have Richard Cox. They got to get me a nickname. So that's one. 2.
All right, we'll get you one. Don't worry. So, hey, listen, here's the deal, though.
Okay.
You don't get to pick it, and you don't get to say no to it.
Oh, of course not. If someone gives you the nickname like Gator Bait, you just run with it. And I'm
go.
Dave Gator Bait Van Auken here at Fight Bananas, So
we gave Troy the nickname Pretty Boy Troy. We just we edited one of his back when that's another guy that fought for us, and now you have to watch. He's living in Singapore now, fighting for ONE FC. But we gave him the name Pretty Boy Troy. And he was like, man, really? And he didn't like the nickname. And it's funny. Now you see him using it and shit. And it's like, yeah, it finally stuck. But, so you don't get to pick your nickname, man. But we're going to give you a good one. Don't worry.
Very cool. Very cool. Troy is actually on the list of things to talk to you about. So he's later on the show as well. The number 2 thing out of your dialogue there was the weight. So you said this man's fighting Brendan at 185 middleweight, and Sam fought Alton Meeks at heavyweight, I would assume, because Alton Meeks is a super heavyweight. He's just moving down the ladder, trying to get in better shape, getting right, and middleweight will be his end weight.
Oh yeah, man.
Okay.
When he fought Alton, I want to say he fought Alton at 2. He was weighing like 220, 225, and Alton was 265. Gosh. So there was a 40-pound gap there. He's definitely a middleweight. He's not a heavyweight. So he's at the right weight class.
Wow. And then the last thing you said about looks, and you never count anyone out. I'm 100% agreeing. Being around the game for this long, I don't care what the betting favorite is, the odds, who looks like, who's on a 12-fight win streak. It doesn't matter. Any fight, any Saturday night, anyone can win or lose. So I just kind of want to throw that out there. You can never predict in mixed martial arts, ever.
Nope. That's why I love the sport, man.
Absolutely.
I know there were thousands of fans last night that were watching the Henry Cejudo and Marlon Moraes fight. I was included. I was one of them that I would love to see. I said it before the fight. I would love to see Cejudo win just because of the flyweight division and being able to be champ, but that I just didn't see it being a possibility. And all the way through the moment of the turn where Cejudo started coming back, I think everyone counted Cejudo out. I mean, the size difference, his cringy interviews, like it just, no one was counting on Cejudo winning last night. And then look what happened.
Yeah, no, he was the underdog going into the fight, and Marlon looked phenomenal in round one. I'm like, wow. And then to me, Marlon's just been moving up the ranks. I just thought that middle, a light heavyweight can fight at heavyweight. They're so big, and you can put on extra weight. To the flyweight to bantamweight, I just think that's a huge deal. Like Marlon is even in the octagon round one, Marlon's width, his girth was just so much bigger and wider than Henry. But hats off to Henry Cejudo. Holy shit!
Yeah, I think that also is a pretty big testament to weight cuts too, though. I mean, Cejudo didn't have to cut the weight, so his lungs were better.
Yeah,
Marlon, we never really seen Marlon go the distance. Like we never seen him have to go into deep waters, and I know everyone knows because Cejudo makes sure they all know that he was an Olympic champion, and the mindset it takes to become an Olympic gold medalist is just it's a crazy mindset, man. You look at those people, the mental fortitude they have is insane. So, he's not going to be broken. He might get finished. He might get knocked out. He might get submitted, but he's not going to be broken.
Yeah, no, that's for damn sure. UFC 238, you're talking about anything else that jumps off the page? I know everyone's got pictures about Jessica Eye being knocked out, Donald Cerrone's eye, anything with the prelims, anything with Peter Yan, like anything else that jumped at you from UFC 238?
Man, there were some amazing fights, and I think that we got a lot of new guys coming up that that weren't previously known about. I hate that some of these guys came up off of getting wins over some of my friends and some of I mean, they're my friends. They're also my buddies, but
sure.
Lamas, Carter Lamas, I couldn't believe, the way that fight went. It was I mean, the guy he fought was virtually unknown. Qatar, he's not very well known, but he put his stamp on last night. It looked amazing. I thought Grasso too. She looked amazing. I couldn't believe, I can't even pronounce her last name, but Carolina, she had a lot of hype behind her, and I feel like she's kind of had a string of bad luck. Sterling looked great, but he has looked great. That wasn't surprising to me. I guess if I had to pick one fight that really stood out last night that wasn't the biggest underdog that no one had really heard of, it would probably be the Asian girl that fought Hill. I don't remember her name. But she was just, man, she was tough. She was, it kind of shocked me the way she fought. She was very good.
Oh, the card was stacked going into it. The main card was amazing, but also I love the prelims. To have Pedro on there, to have Nina on there. The prelims were just absolutely stacked from the get-go. It was just such a great card, and then to end it with 2 title fights, and then to end it with a war of Ferguson and Donald. And people were kind of upset in a way of how it ended, but I was happy with it, right? I saw what I wanted to see.
I mean, who knows? Personally, I consider myself a friend of Cowboys. I lived with him for a good little minute and trained with him for a while. And I mean, the Ferguson gets stronger as fights continue. He was going to come out stronger in that third round. I don't know how that fight was going to go. I mean, I hope it is a rematch. I hope they end up fighting again. But, what I would like to see is Ferguson get a title fight first. I know he's not going to. They're probably going to make him fight Cowboy again first. But, I think that going to the third round, I think that would have been a lot worse for Cowboy. And it sucks that that's what happened, that he, blew his nose. It's unfortunate. But in the heat of the moment, even knowing that that's what happened, we're fighters. We're thinking about fighting and thinking about trying to breathe. So I get it.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with what you just said. I just put out a post, an article on fightbananas.com about it and who the 5 main fights on the main card, and I predict who they're going to fight next. And I rarely do it. And I said Tony Donald again because with Dustin Habib, and they're not fighting for 2 months. And I think Tony wants to be active. He didn't look like he took a lot of, he wasn't stumbling like the punishment. His ankles look good. His knees look good. Like, I think Tony's going to want to fight late summer, early fall by the latest. Him versus Gaethje could be insane, but I almost feel like they should save that fight. Hopefully one of those guys are a champion and kind of, new blood for the title. And yeah, Tony Khabib, it has to happen. Just has to, right? Like, it has to.
Yeah, you would think, man, but there's been that's like a cursed fight. It continues to find a way to not happen.
Okay. Well, hey, let's keep the train going just because with you are a busy, busy man. We follow you everywhere, Facebook, Instagram, Combat Night MMA, Mitchell Chamale on Facebook, and you put out that post. I'm in this state this day, traveling this day, and I'm in Tallahassee here. Then I got the Duval show, and then I'm going to the Contender series. I'm in Vegas, then Singapore. Just talk about everything, and let's just go one at a time. After Duval, after that great show, June 15th in Duval, the Contender series. Las Vegas, Nevada, June 18th. I'll be out there. I can't wait. We've been talking about this for a while, man. Gosh, Hannah Goldie, Alton Meeks, and Brock Weaver on the same freaking card. This is ridiculous.
It's like a local event.
I know. This is like...
Only you got to fly to Vegas, get a hotel, and hope that they open it up to the public.
I got a wristband already for somebody.
Nice. Good, man. Good.
Yeah, you were right. It is a local event in front of Dana White. That's how I feel like it doesn't get, to have someone make it. It's just with all of them on the same card and all of them fighting for the same thing. It's just like I'm even more amped. I don't know how to explain it, and I think you feel the same way about this. June 18th is like a huge star on the calendar for me.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we make history that night, man. I'm hoping that I'm in the same camp with Alton and Hannah, and I don't think two people from the same camp have ever been awarded a contract on the same night. So I'm hoping that history is made there. And then I'm hoping history is also made, and it's the first time that 3 fighters get signed in one night. And I hope Brock gets in there, and I hope that, I hope all 3 of them do, man. That's the only unfortunate part for me is that you just look at the numbers, and there hasn't been, that many people signed. So, I mean, I know they all got it. They all got the juice. So it's just a matter of hopefully Dana White seeing it that night. Of
course. That's a great point. But if you put on a show, on that show, sooner or later, we mentioned him once, and I know you train with him all the time. We know him, Michael Beast Boy Davis. He was on the show, even took an L, but it was a great performance. Saduk is he's a monster. Mike, all 15 minutes. It was a war. It's one of the most watched Contender Series fights ever. YouTube, the ratings, the rankings, it's off the charts. So, Mike didn't get a contract that day. Not that month. He went back into it. Island fights, 2 fights, boom, got signed in the UFC. Another fight coming soon. So it's exactly. It's like I agree with you. I'll pray all week that Hannah, Brock, Alton, a show. I feel like Brock Weaver's a war. Hannah Goldie, a first round knockout, and Alton Meeks would do that grind, get on him, and just like that domination, that old school Brock Lesnar and Frank Mir style. But 3 different styles. I hope they can. But if you perform amazing in front of Dana White, you'll get it. You'll get it soon enough. So that's UFC Contender Series. Then okay, what's next for you? You're flying over to Singapore right away after that?
No, actually, before that, I've got bare knuckle boxing in Tampa.
Yep, June 22nd.
Yeah, so I'll get back the 19th. I'll get a couple of days with the family, and then I'll be going over to Tampa. Jim Allers is fighting Elvin Brito.
Yeah,
they've already fought once in MMA, so it'll be a bare knuckle fight. And then after that, I will take a couple of days again with the family, and I will make my way over to Singapore.
Wow, with more family, with Troy.
Yeah, it's like my little brother, man. He's like
I know,
close friend, So I'm looking forward to that. Him making his debut for ONE FC.
Yeah, no, Troy's amazing. I can't wait for that fight as well. I'm going to rewind a little bit because we kind of went over it. One, Dean Tool Promotions, June 15th, Pensacola Beach, Florida, Mazadov versus Pettis main event. Insane, right? Like,
yeah, man, I wish I could have been there for that, man.
Yeah.
It's kind of unfortunate, but there's only about 40 weekends in the year that events can really be ran on. So it's only inevitable to happen where you don't, you're going to run an event on the same day as one of your boys. But yeah, man, that's going to be an awesome event. I love the variety of combat sports that'll be happening. And, those two potentially could end up fighting each other down the road now that they're both at 170.
Yeah, I said the same thing. As soon as I heard about this fight and I'm talking to Dean, I'm like, dude, this fight for one can main event any combat sports show in the world in any arena. Like, it's just an insane fight, especially how hot both those names are right now. And then to also have Yoel Romero on the card. It's a sick card. How about the Phil Rowe, Biggie Rhodes match? I love that. That's like the people's fight. But then, okay, you ready for this? The day after Dean Tool Promotions is a great day for you and I don't know if it's on your calendar yet. That's Father's Day, my man. So happy early Father's Day to you.
Yeah, man, I'm pretty excited about Father's Day. But at the same time, I'm flying out to Vegas at 6 a.m. So, I got an event June 15th in Jacksonville. I'll be wrapping everything up probably around midnight. I'll be driving back home to Orlando, get back home around 2:30 or so. I might get 2 hours of sleep, and then I get to go to the airport and fly out. So I am excited. It's Father's Day, but there's work to be done.
Absolutely. Wow. And then, and like you said, around June 22nd is that Tampa Bare Knuckle FC. We actually had David Feldman on the show a couple episodes ago. What's your first gut reaction? Are you a fan of Bare Knuckle FC?
I'm not, man.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Just being honest, I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, kudos to them for bringing it back, I guess. And I think it's awesome that it's another opportunity for people to compete in combat sports. But I'm just personally not a fan of it. I know the state of Florida has asked me a couple times if I wanted to do bare knuckle fights on my events, and I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah. Okay.
What I would like to see, what I'm actually working on now with the state, is Muay Thai fights with MMA gloves.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
So that's the next. That's something I'm interested in. I just think that the bare knuckle, one, I don't know how. I mean, it's a completely different combat sport for sure. It's a hard sport, and it's like I said, it's a different sport in itself. And I don't know how prepared a lot of these guys are going into these for bare knuckle, the style you get to fight. And I think a lot of guys are finding out during the fight how different it really is.
Sure. Gosh, it's brutal, and it's action. They start so close to each other with the toe to the line, and just how the ring is. It's just Chris Liebens had 2 fights. It's been 1 minute and 20 seconds total. It's insane. Yeah. It's quick stuff. But in Tampa, it will be a fun show.
I'm super stoked. Like I said, I've never seen one live, and it's not that when I say I'm not a fan of it, I don't mean that I'm not a fan of it per se as a fan. That sounds weird. But as a promoter and a fighter myself, I'm not a fan of it. From a fan standpoint, I think it's cool. I think it's something different, But from a promoting standpoint and a fighter standpoint, it's nothing that I would ever do.
No, of course, I totally agree, and I get what you're saying. It's a hey, we'll get a couple of drinks that night. We'll have fun. I like how it's more paydays for the boys and girls. Yeah. I'm always a fan of that. So, but yeah,
are you going to be there?
I'm not. I'm going to be in Pensacola June 15th, which is crazy. To me, to miss a Taylor White fight, it's unheard of. I'm flying out to Vegas myself for the Contender series. I need a break. I need my Father's Day moment. I got 2 boys on the run, so I need a little home time.
I hear you.
But if you want to, talk about Troy a little bit at the end here, also talk about some Combat Night stuff coming up. I know you're going down south again. I know Tallahassee's on the radar. So definitely, throw those out, plug those away. And then after that, I got 10 questions for you real quick. We got, it's called Going Bananas. So we'll have fun there at the end.
Oh, great.
But
what was the question there? Sorry, I got distracted with the Going Bananas part.
Your show's coming up down south in Fort Lauderdale, also the Tallahassee show, and then anything last about Troy. I know you're flying over there. How long are you over there for Troy Worth?
I haven't yet booked my plane ticket.
Okay.
But it's gonna be most likely June 25th, 6th ish.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna be there until July 14th. And then we have Tallahassee on July 20th. I'm gonna be over there. It's gonna be pretty interesting. Trying to promote an event, which is something that I needed to do for a long time. I needed to have to work remotely. It's kind of like just a moment of forced growth for me. Because I'm not gonna miss Troy's fight. I'm not gonna miss the opportunity to be over there and support him and help finish up camp with him. There's just not even an option to me. So I'm happy that I'm able to get over there and be a part of that with him. But I'll also be working with a 12-hour time difference. Right now, Troy's just getting up. So I'll have to plan, post appropriately, and make sure all the marketing materials get done and they're being streamlined the right way and put out the right way. And I'll have to trust other people with Combat Night for 3 weeks, which is, anyone who knows me knows that I'm a very, 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 very particular guy, especially when it comes to Combat Night. So that's going to be a fun moment of growth for me to have to kind of take a step back.
Yeah.
But and then I come back and I'm right back in the shit. I got to go to Tallahassee as soon as I land, jet lagged up, and I'll go up there and put the final touches on the event for Combat Night, Tallahassee. And then I come home for a weekend and I'm going straight to Fort Lauderdale because I have an event July 27th at Fort Lauderdale. So I'll be promoting for 2 shows in Singapore. It's going to be pretty interesting.
Wow. Well, Mitchell, you have an absolutely outstanding team around you with Richard and Ramsey.
Sure.
You got more than enough people to handle it, and that's funny you said that. My brother's in Okinawa, Japan, so I totally get. He's 13 hours ahead. So every time I'm like, and he's a big fight fan, so like we're talking about this and the Habib Dustin thing just got announced, and it was like 11:30. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna call him. I'm like, oh crap, it's 12 a.m. I can't call him right now. He's in bed, So I totally get that shit. Wow, crazy, man. So July 20th, Tally, July 27th, Fort Lauderdale, but June 15th, guys, Duval. It is Fight Week. It's officially Fight Week, a stacked card from top to bottom, but at top, Taylor Samantha White versus Shelby Corin. The Combat Night title is on the line. Both 4-0, both Combat Night, veterans. This is bananas. It literally is a bananas main event.
Yeah, it's funny. I saw someone, real quick to touch base on that. I saw someone post the other day a classic matchup of a grappler versus a striker. And my first thought was, well, who's the grappler and who's the striker?
Right?
I don't even know who you're talking about, because both of these girls have, stand-up fights. Shelby Corin's first fight was a Muay Thai fight. I watched her single-arm clinch a girl and throw her into a rear leg head kick, like a rear head kick. I was like, holy shit, this girl's violent.
Yeah.
And then Taylor White, same thing. She's a bulldog on her feet, but I've seen in all her MMA fights go to the ground against girls that were supposed to be grapplers and out grapple them. And it's funny that, people are already trying to say they're one thing or another. And these girls are complete mixed martial artists. And to be completely honest with you, I think in a year or 2 years, they'll be fighting on bigger stages. And, like I said, again, people will say, damn, I saw them live for $30, or damn, I missed seeing them live for $30.
Oh, 100%. And they're both so young. Just being around Taylor now for the last 3 years, she's so damn young. She's growing exponentially by the month. She was known as a boxer years ago.
Yeah.
But like you said, dude, she will grapple the shit out of people now. She is an unbelievable fighter, and Shelby is tough as nails. Like I love watching her fight. I love her style. She has that grit, and almost like Colby Covington pace, very fast, very in your face. It's just the fight is insane. Whoever matched that up deserves a bonus there for Combat Night. Insane fight.
That matchup matched itself up. I mean, while Richard Cox obviously put the final touches on it, I think both of those girls knew as soon as they started fighting, they were looking at each other, and they knew that they were going to have to fight one day. So I think that fight is one of those fights that it's inevitable. It has to happen.
Yeah. No, Shelby said it. She was on the show a couple days ago, and she's like, it was 2016, and I knew I was going to fight Taylor at a Combat Night show. Like, she just said it. She's like, it's going to happen, and they're both happy. It's almost happening now, not maybe a year from now. But it's crazy,
I'm
guys.
Glad it happens. It's happening now.
June 15th, Duval Combat Night. Follow Mitchell on all social media platforms. Mitchell Chamale, CombatNightMMA.com, I believe. Tickets, it's insane. The pay-per-view links, go get it. It's 2019. Google it, find Mitchell Chamale on Facebook. It's like, come on. But, okay, if you're ready, I'm ready. We're going 10 funny questions. First thing comes in your head, no lies.
I don't lie, so you ain't got to worry about that part.
I know, I got you, brother. All right, here we go.
How it is.
What's your favorite app?
Favorite app? Instagram.
Okay. What actor would play you in a movie about you?
The guy off of Hostel. I forget his name, or Rob Font, UFC fighter Rob Font.
Okay.
You got to Google him later. I get that shit all the time.
Really? I know Rob Font. And are you talking about Rolf Fiennes from Hostel? No, maybe someone else?
Yeah, the Spanish dude from Hostel, the very first one. I don't know his name, but I get that guy a lot too. So,
who's your favorite combat sports athlete of all time?
Man, favorite combat sports athlete of all time?
Yes, sir.
That is a hard one. If you're talking about like fanboy athletes or fanboys, it's BJ Penn.
Okay.
He's the one that got me. When I started watching him, I was like, that's the motherfucking fighter I want to be. I want to be the guy who fucking knocks you out. You're bleeding all over the place, and I wipe the blood off your face and I lick it and I smile about it. That's a fighter. If you're talking about like people that I've met and I've been around, it's probably Cowboy. He's another one of those real fighters. I don't know that either one of those guys have ever cheated. You look at their careers and they've fought everybody. They've never backed down from a fight. And, I hate that BJ's going the route he's going right now, but, it is what it is. And you see that a lot with the combat athletes. But BJ Penn and Cowboy, for sure.
Can't go wrong with those. Your first celebrity crush?
Spice Girls. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
No, you tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
I wanna. Yeah, definitely Spice Girls. All of them.
And you can't make this up. The questions are already written down in permanent black marker on my desk. The next question is, what's your favorite guilty pleasure song?
It's not Spice Girls. It would probably be Jewel. I was a big Jewel fan growing up. Like, you were meant for me and I was meant for you and all that shit. It's always funny when people ask me. She was like my favorite singer. So even though I was a big fan of the Spice Girls in a crush, sense. And actually, I've walked out to the Spice Girls before, and I've also walked out to Miley Cyrus, but Jewel for sure.
Damn,
I don't know if you know who that is or not.
Oh my gosh, the CD, the case was like a baby blue aqua case. Of course, bro. We're there on that. What would be your absolute dream fight to promote, to book? Like, you have a headliner. What's that fight?
Man. If we're talking about locals,
no.
Be Julie.
Oh, of all time. Any fight in the world.
Well, I'm going to give you two versions real quick. Two of them. The local version is Julian Williams versus Jose Caceres. I would love to see those two guys fight, and I'd love to be the promoter behind making that fight happen.
Okay.
Julian Williams and Jose Caceres. I think they both have really unique styles, and it's a really fun matchup. And then on a bigger level, I would like to see, GSP and Anderson Silva in their primes.
Oh shit! And like in Canada or in Brazil?
I would
That's
probably
epic.
Brazil. I like Brazil. I like the Brazilian fans more. They're real passionate about their athletes. I wish more countries got behind their athletes like Brazil did.
No, it's a great point. I love that point, because America, it's like sometimes they'll root for the Brazilian or the Canadian over American. Okay, a couple more left. Describe yourself as a teenager in 3 words.
Really fucking awkward.
Man, this wasn't going to be an explicit fucking podcast, but with Mitchell talking about BJ Penn and a teenager, no, you can do whatever the fuck you want, Mitchell. All right, this is the Bananas podcast now. The last name of the first girl you ever kissed.
Auburn.
Your favorite carnival food.
Elephant ears.
Shit. Okay, this is a good one. Combat Night. Your dream venue for Combat Night MMA.
Amway.
Ooh. We can get
Don't
that.
count us out. Don't count us out yet. But
hell no. Hell no. Wow. Mitchell, man, I appreciate you, buddy. Can't wait to see you. I'll see you soon. We'll see you in Vegas, June 15th, Duval. I always appreciate your time. Big fan, man. Combat Night MMA.
For sure, man. I'll see you guys soon. See you in Vegas, homie.
All right, brother. Later.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that was Mitchell Chamale. I'm telling you, everyone thinks, oh, I work hard. I put in the time. Not like Mitchell Chamale does. Guys, that is Mitchell Chamale Combat Night. This is Fight Bananas. Fight Bananas.
I did it once, I did it twice, it ain't my last one.